Hey everyone, today is Tuesday, September 10th, 2024. Welcome to the Rossmoor Community Service District Board of Directors regular meeting. This is our call to order. May we please have a roll call?
Roll call, Director Shade. Here. Director Maynard. I'm sorry, President Maynard.
Here.
Director DeMarco.
Here.
Director Searles.
Here.
And Director Barkey appears to be absent this evening.
Okay. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Director Shade, would you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Unfortunately, tonight, our Senator Janet Nguyen, who was going to attend and have a presentation, is unable to make it tonight. So we hop to our presentation B, which is Orange County Sheriff's Department, Captain A.J. Patel, and he's going to present his latest update.
It's the quickest I've ever gotten to the podium.
Okay.
New
Good to see you,
record.
Captain.
Good to see you guys. Thanks for having me. You have a copy of this in front of you, so no surprises. So basically what I did is compared our summer months last year to our summer months this year and kind of trying to identify any trends. Honestly, there really isn't. It was kind of eerie that the total calls to dispatch was almost exactly the same. Total reports are down a little bit, which is not a bad thing. Crimes against persons, which is kind of out of our control, also down. Those are usually isolated incidents within the home, domestic type stuff. Our crimes against property and society, that's the stuff that we really want to look for. That's our grand thefts, our burglaries and stuff like that. That too is down 15%. The thing that I actually really like to look at, and because it's what I preach to the community, is our number of suspicious activity calls. And those are actually up over 30%. So we had 55 last year and we had 75 this year. And those are those calls that people are just calling in something, saying something ain't right. I'm seeing something here. 99.9% of the time it's nothing. It ends up being a positive police contact with my guys. But that one time, I want to make sure that we get those calls into my dispatch center. So I'm always encouraged when those type of calls go up. It doesn't mean bad things are happening. It just means people are noticing things and calling things in. So that's a good thing. So you can see the breakdown of the crimes against persons. The main thing I'm really proud of is, last year we were getting hit with those catalytic converter thefts like crazy, right? Every owner of a Toyota Prius was, you never knew when you were going to wake up and not have a catalytic converter. So this year, those are down significantly. So it went from 13 to 2. The main grand thefts that we're having are really those unattended property that people just leave around. E-bikes especially, they'll come and they'll park them in the garage and they'll just leave, or on their doorstep and just leave them there. And because those things are so expensive, they end up being a grand theft. It's not a petty theft. So we really want to encourage people to limit the opportunities. I always say nobody deserves to be a victim of a crime, but it's really on you to really limit that opportunistic crime. Same thing with our burglaries. Yeah, they went up, but these are those kind of opportunity crimes where we're leaving purses on the front seats of the car. We're leaving laptops. We're leaving all these things that people walk by and they see, and they can't help themselves. They're going to break the window and take that. So that technically is a vehicle burglary. The good news is our residential burglaries, the things that we talk about offline, these South American crews, these gang members that are coming in from LA, those are pretty much non-existent during this period of time. Not the same case last year. And I equate that to the work that my guys are doing behind the scenes. We're doing a lot of great investigative follow-up work, and a lot of these guys are ending up in Orange County jails. I was telling Director DeMarco, we had a incident just last week where we were chasing these guys into the golf course over here near the base, and we got 3 of them in custody. So those guys get into our jail and they stay in jail. So super proud of that work. The main thing I want people to be concerned of, and I think it's kind of died down. This is actually toward the beginning of this kind of data set, was the stolen vehicles. I know we've talked about it before, but there's certain vehicles that pickup trucks, Kias, Hyundais, if you have one of these type of vehicles, make sure you get that thing off the street. If you can, garage it. If minimally that old school club or any sort of anti-theft device, it actually goes a long way in keeping people from wanting to take your vehicle. But even that has actually died down. We haven't had one of those in almost 2 months. So most of those were towards the beginning of this period. Like I said, super proud of the work my guys are doing. You see them. Like I said, we'll be out at the festival this weekend. Go up to them, say hi. If you have any questions about anything, they'll be happy to help. And I'm happy to take any questions from the board.
Director Shades.
Thank you, Captain AJ. I appreciate all the feedback on all these numbers. So I love that the word is actually getting out on the suspicious activity calls. People are starting to really get that message, so that's huge and great. I think that that's like a really good thing to drive home. And the also the word on the opportunity crimes. People need to close their garage doors and all that kind of stuff. So thank you for all your work and as well as your team. Looking forward to this Saturday.
Yes, thank you.
Director Searles.
Yeah, thank you, Captain. For the fraud identity theft, I mean, do you know, is there any trend to that? Is it online? Is it the gift card, friend, spoofing? What kind of?
It's a combination of things. I'd have to do a deep dive into the actual incidents, but a lot of them are just, they're all different. There's phone calls to elderly people that will, transfer monies. There's the gift card thing that you were talking about. There's stuff that's just identity theft, like behind the scenes, like your credit card fraud or something like that, where you just call your credit card company and they reverse the charges. But those we still come out and take a report call for. So the ones that we really want to avoid are those ones where people are getting scammed out of money that they're never going to get back. I mean, so if somebody gets a hold of your credit card number, your account number, that kind of stuff gets fixed on the back end. So that's not a huge deal. We still do report it. But those ones where people are getting scammed out of money, like the old where they call and say your grandson has been kidnapped and we need this amount of money or something, like that's a total made up scenario. But those ones are the ones we really need to avoid. And I could do a deep dive and maybe we can do some community engagement with that, as far as, especially with our elderly population. They're the ones that usually get taken advantage of, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of these are those behind the scenes where, hey, somebody used my credit card at the Target across the street or something like that, and those are just, we get rid of those. So.
Yeah, well, thank you. I think maybe ahead of the holidays, if you do any press releases, let us know so we share that.
Absolutely.
For the thing. And then I also want to thank you for the vacation check service. I know a lot of neighbors used it over the summer, and I know that helps keep these numbers down. So thank you, and to the Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, I had to remind one of our community members that they're telling me they're not telling you. Did you put your vacation check in? He's like, no. I say, well, you better tell me what your address is and tell me what days you're going to be out of town, because I'm going to do your vacation checks.
Yeah.
So even the people we preach to and the people that do the preaching for us sometimes forget. So.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Director DeMarco.
Thank you, Captain, for the report. Is it against county ordinance to go door to door and solicit for solar or anything like that?
It can be. There's a way of getting a permit for that, but most people don't take the time to do that. But sometimes they'll have like a little lanyard around their neck and they have a permit.
Okay.
Like I said, it hasn't been a huge problem, but those are probably a lot of the suspicious activity calls that we do get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. There were some people going around being a little, I don't know, and this was just postings and what I heard, this going around and it was for solar and stuff and kind of being forceful into selling their product. So, so I just wanted to bring that up, that you, of course, you don't have to talk to anybody that knocks on your door.
Well,
but,
and by all means call us, because usually if they're unpermitted and they're not meant to be around, they will see us and they will move on to the next target neighborhood.
Very good.
We'll happily take those calls.
Very good. And Carolyn, we're going to have put these in our minutes. Okay. All right. Thank you, Captain.
Captain, I had a question about e-bikes.
Everybody usually does.
Are you getting calls and complaints about the behavior of kids on e-bikes? Is that
Actually,
becoming a trend? Because
calls to dispatch, not as much as you would think.
Okay.
I usually hear it here and
Okay.
from folks in like.
But
Manfred
people aren't
Watch, something
calling
like
it
that. Not really, honestly. Occasionally we will get a group, not so much in Rossmoor. We have a lot of our patrol areas near the beach and stuff like that, where they're just, like the people use the word terrorizing the citizens, but I think we've been really good, and we've been working with, remember Zeph that was here from the CHP? My guys have been working closely with him and educating. We work with the schools to try to put together some administrative type of tools that we can kind of, it gives us a little more power over the kids through the school districts.
Right.
And then educating these parents. Sometimes these parents just have no idea what they bought for their kid. And some of these things are not even street legal. And when we educate the parents on that, they didn't know. But I know just this last festival we had, was it last month, my guys rolled out in force, and one of my guys there is actually one of the e-bike experts. He used to be a motor down south. So I had him kind of work that event just to engage with the kids that are riding, if there's any parents there with them, just to kind of educate them on what they can do, what they can't do. Sometimes they just need to be talked to. I mean, if I had one of those things when I was a kid, God knows what I would have been up to. So, so like I said, we're starting off very low. Like I said, the California laws are still trying to catch up to that stuff. I know every community's kind of, and city and county are doing things. They're kind of like, just kind of making stuff up as they go. I'd rather, kind of spoon feed it to the community and just understand that we were once kids like them, and we just need to kind of educate them. Hopefully they're wearing their helmets, but to just be chasing these kids in a police car around the neighborhood just seems kind of unreasonable at this point. But I'm happily to take any suggestions you have.
The only thing I could tell you, and this is from my own eyesight and my own thing, I see a migration, if you will. I see an escalation of almost cat and mouse, almost playing chicken, and daring each other against cars, and all of a sudden it's like, if you're in a bike and the car's behind you, you move to the side. They're not. I've seen it multiple times, and I'm just thinking, I'm glad these kids are okay. I'm glad it's Rossmoor, because if you did that in Pomona, where I grew up, you get hit. So I see the kids, and I worry from the lack of parental supervision. Obviously, I don't think their parents know what these kids are doing, but I do see an embrazen attitude and a behavioral change on the e-bikes in Rossmoor.
It does seem to have, from what I've heard,
It's escalating.
Well, it's not so much that, it's that the mindset, when you get more than a couple of them together, it's that typical, and I won't say that they are, but it's what they say in crowd control scenarios, that mob mentality. When you start, it builds, it has an energy amongst itself, and then that's how things get out of control. So we're still, like I said, strategizing on what the best way to tackle it is. And right now it's educating the parents, going through the school districts. And when we see these groups of kids, engaging them and letting them know the rules of the road, making sure that what they're riding is legal, making sure they got their helmets on, making sure they know the different rules of the road, especially in Rossmoor. It's a very unique community. We encourage people riding their bikes and walking their dogs and everything. That's why people live here probably. So it's just starting low and working our way up. So, and if something gets out of control, and we'll deal with it. So.
Is there any rules of them riding at night? No, like nothing like lights on the bikes? Or
Yes, it's the same rules that any a regular bike would have to have. You have to have a light on the front, a light on the back. You still have to have your helmet on. So technically, yes.
Good to know.
Yeah. And that's just standard California vehicle code.
Yeah,
So.
now that I've seen them riding around at night, and I'm like, they don't have helmets, and they're riding around at night, and I'm like, you don't even see them,
Where
and
are
they're
your
buzzing
parents?
around. Yeah, just, wondering what okay, good to know.
Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
Okay, this brings us, because I'm assuming we don't have any additions to the agenda, so I'm moving to a public forum. Any person may address the Board of Directors at this time upon any subject within the jurisdiction of the Rossmoor Community Service District. However, any matter that requires action may be referred to staff at the discretion of the board for a report and an action at a subsequent board meeting. I do not have any cards, but you don't need cards. Anyone like to address the board? Okay. That takes us to item D1, Parks Facility Maintenance Report. Our Park Superintendent, Homero Perez, is in the house.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, here we are. inspection of district properties. The facilities at Rossmoor and Rush Park and Montecito Center are fully operational with no significant issues to report. Significant activities in this quarter. District staff installed a new ATV rider at the small playground at Rossmoor Park. Also, district staff repaired 2 broken auditorium partitions here in the auditorium. In an effort to green up the parks, district staff aerated and reseeded bare areas here at Rush Park and Rossmoor Park, and applied 10 yards of topper to cover the no grass seed. Electrical company captain disconnected floor electrical outlets here in the auditorium prior to the carpet installation. Old carpet was replaced with tile carpeting and STV planks at the entrance of the auditorium and in the east room. Sorry, these papers are stuck.
Take your time.
Regular maintenance performed. District staff continues to inspect district properties, and we are performing maintenance as follows: daily, weekly, and quarterly. So that's it.
That's
Thank
your
you.
report? Okay. Director Shade.
Thank you, Omero, for your report.
You're welcome.
No further questions from me.
Thank you.
Director DeMarco.
How's the, so we,
Omero.
Oh, Omero.
Omero.
wait a minute. So we reseeded outside here that it's going to be durable enough for the Saturday? Or we're just not gonna
Yes,
walk on it?
we did it a couple of,
Okay.
almost like 3 weeks ago, so, so we're hoping to mow this Friday, that way it's
Okay.
ready for the festival.
Very good.
And as you can see, the park is greening up, and
Yep. Okay, great.
Director Searles.
Yeah, Omer, thank you for all you do. The herbicide, will that be applied to Rossmoor Park later in the year?
That's a good question. Technically, yeah. We decided not to do it because there aren't that many weeds over there. But eventually, yeah, it will be done.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
That's all.
I'm going to ask for some quick grades.
Sure.
So we're going to start off at Rossmoor Park. The park itself, if you had to give it a letter grade, you know, A's, B's, C's, what letter grade do you currently give the state of our park on Rush Park?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
You know
Mr.
how
President.
there's grades, you get an A, you get a B.
Oh,
you get a
okay,
C,
okay,
You know,
okay.
grades like school.
Yeah.
If you- Just the park at
Rossmoor Park.
Rossmoor Park. What grade would you give that park right now with your expertise?
I think it's probably like from A to C. I think I will give it like probably like a B, I guess.
Okay.
And but it looks really good. I mean, we've been watering it, and we've been just monitoring the irrigation system.
So the park itself
Constantly.
is a B, okay.
Yeah.
How about the buildings, the restrooms, the auditorium there, the rec room?
The rec room, everything's in good shape. We try to keep up with the maintenance, the fans and everything, and the painting and everything. So I will give it an A.
An A for that, okay.
Yeah.
Let's jump to this park. The outside fields, the play areas. what
Probably
grade?
like B as well.
A
Yeah.
B? Okay.
Yeah.
And the facility here?
The facility, well, actually, this place, as you can see, looks really nice. I mean, with the new improvements, I think we in B A plus.
An A plus?
Yeah.
Okay,
So absolutely, yeah.
okay. So you meet with our board like you are doing now, 2 times a year, 3 times a year?
Quarterly.
It's quarterly?
Yeah. It's
Okay,
quarterly,
I
yeah.
want to challenge you to work with Mr. Mendoza and figure out what it takes to make our parks an A.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Good report card, though. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Thank you, Omero.
Okay, we're at E, consent calendar. These are routine, non-controversial, to be acted upon by the board of directors at one time. However, if any board member requests that an item be removed from the consent calendar, it shall be removed so that it may be acted upon separately. Is there any request for separation between 1A and 1B and number 2? Okay. Is there a motion to approve consent?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Consent approved 4-0. Takes us quickly to our regular calendar. Tonight for G1, this is the second reading for proposed policy number 6017 regarding a memorial bench and tree donation. Excuse me. Mr. Mendoza.
Thank you, President Maynard, members of the board. Again, this is our second reading for policy number 6017, a memorial bench and tree donations. We wanted to formalize this program. I have Tarquin here, our attorney, who will also be able to answer any questions, but we're asking for approval of this policy in order to move forward and to market it to the public and to our community and give them the opportunity to honor their loved ones with a special bench or a tree installation.
Director Shade, I'll start with you.
I'm not sure if we're ready to go on this. Where are we standing right now? Are we ready to move forward?
It's our second reading, so
Okay.
second reading.
Second reading.
And then.
We can go
we can
ahead and just,
Approve it.
Yeah.
Or deny it.
I think we're ready to move forward on approving this unless there's any other questions. I hate to delay things, and I just want to get things done.
Okay, so you don't have any questions?
I do
Okay.
not.
Director Searles.
I had one question in the language, and I apologize that I was overlooked previously. In the section 6017.32 about donation requests, it says natural deceased persons. I'm not sure what the context of natural means there.
Director Searles, if I can comment.
Yeah.
So it's come as a natural persons who have deceased. That is actual human beings. That's the intent of the language.
My concern is if someone were to die of unnatural causes, are they an unnaturally deceased person?
No, I think it's the natural person, a natural person, not a corporate entity or a non-human.
Should the modifier be then deceased natural persons rather than natural deceased persons?
That would be accurate.
Okay.
With that change, I would be okay with changing it to deceased natural persons.
Anything else?
Nothing further.
Good choice.
Director DeMarco.
How did we come up with that? It's just, I mean, you don't have a problem with changing those two words, Tarquin? How did those two words, how did the natural deceased persons come about?
It may have initially been natural persons who were deceased, and the language was transposed, but that is the most accurate way to state it. Persons. The point being that only natural persons who are deceased would be eligible for a plaque. That is, fictional characters, non-human.
Pets.
You just want to avoid
Human
arguments.
beings.
Human beings,
Yeah.
exactly. Human beings who are deceased.
It's just a legal term.
Correct.
So we didn't catch this last month?
I thought natural being just that they live, but when I read it as natural deceased, it made me think of if someone died of unnatural causes, then they wouldn't be naturally deceased, they'd be unnaturally deceased.
And therefore not eligible.
And non-eligible.
Wow,
That is-
that's a deep dive in this paragraph.
Well,
Okay.
no, thank
well,
you.
I mean, just put human beings in then.
Yeah, I read it as written. I read it as natural persons who are deceased, but I appreciate the clarity provided
I
by
appreciate the clarity as well.
Director
Wow.
Searles.
So, Nathan, Director Searles, why don't you make a motion to approve based on that direction of edit and see if someone seconds it?
So I move that the board approve the second reading of proposed policy number 6017 regarding memorial bench and tree donations, with the only change to be in section 6017.32 to read the second sentence, only applications for deceased natural persons who were formerly Rossmoor residents will be considered for a memorial park bench or tree.
Is there a second?
Second.
Now, just real quick, we are voting that we are passing this resolution, so this will be a roll call. And then as soon as you have it retyped, just provided it passes, I then will sign it. Okay, let's have a roll call.
Roll call, Director Shade. Here. Director DeMarco.
Aye.
Director Searles.
Aye.
President Maynard.
Aye. Okay, G1 passes 4-0. We're now moving to resolution number 2, or G2, I'm sorry, resolution number 24-09-10-01, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Rossmoor Community Service District approving the consumption of alcohol at a baby shower event to be held on November 23rd, 2024, from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. in the Rush Park Auditorium. Mr. Mendoza.
Thank you, President Maynard, members of the board. As you know, we have a policy that requires any alcohol use in our auditorium to be approved by the board in advance. And we have a request from residents, the All family. They would like to do an event, a baby shower, from 1 to 4 p.m. And they would like to have beer and wine available from 12:30 to 4. We have approximately 130 guests coming. We will have a monitor here from our staff, and they are required to also have a security guard. So the staff is recommending approval. We're well aware of the event and the family, and we don't see any issues arising.
Is there any questions or comments?
I'll make a comment. I'm very thankful that they asked for permission instead of just doing it. So I support it wholeheartedly, and I actually am very thankful that they went through this process.
Any other comments?
I agree, no,
Okay.
100%.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor? Well, actually, no, this is a roll call.
Wow.
Let's have a roll call, please.
This is a roll call vote for resolution number 24-09-10-01, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Rossmoor Community Services District approving the consumption of alcohol at a baby shower event to be held on November 23rd, 2024, from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. in the Rush Park Auditorium. Director Searles?
Aye.
Director DeMarco?
Aye.
Director Shade?
Aye.
President Maynard?
Aye. Okay, that one goes down 4-0-2. Brings us already, fast night, general manager items.
What? Wow, this is lightning.
Yeah. Sign over the time.
President Maynard, members of the board, thank you. I'll be real brief, but I want to give a shout out to Mary Kingman, our arborist. Mary and I will be attending a conference for the Joint Powers Insurance Authority in Indian Wells on October 10th. Mary's up for a award, and it's a very prestigious award called the Capstone Award. And basically, she was chosen out of a number of applicants to be in this competitive, award situation, which I think she's going to do very well. For our tree trimming and maintenance program, is very proactive, and we have very few claims on a ratio of how many trees we have, and we're very proud of the way we've handled our business as far as being proactive in trimming trees, both on a 4-year grid cycle, and as Mary goes around, she picks out trees that gets trimmed every 2 or 3 years, depending on the type of tree and what's needed. The other one is, as you know, we started a senior club. It's starting to take off. They meet the second and fourth Thursday of the month here at Rush Park between 9:30 and 11. We have games, we have coffee, we have refreshments, we have speakers. And this Thursday, Elizabeth Denny from the Orange County Fire Authority will be joining us and providing valuable tips on disaster preparedness and preparing for an earthquake. So please spread the word. I expect a pretty good crowd this Thursday. North Orange County Continuing Education is offering classes in Rossmoor at Rush Park Auditorium. As you can see in the schedule here, their classes are Friday for health and wellness, Thursdays for help yourself to health, for what does OA mean? I'm sorry. You know? Okay. And older adults, excuse me. Community members need the course, need to pre-register the course, and Carolyn has posted that on our website and social media, so it's also here and will be available. We met with the investment committee on August 27th. We are provided with a presentation from the California Cooperative Liquid Assets Investment called CLASS. It's a short-term investment option for RSD to consider. As you know, we are in a long-term investment commitment to LAIF. It's a government program that we are very happy with, but this program that we reviewed gives a little better, I guess, returns. But both Nathan Ciros and Joe Shade, our directors, received the information and decided to table for future options. Any comment on that, Director Ciros? Or
One concern for me was it's a fairly new program, and we would want more information to know if liquidity issues from other cities. It's a mutual, essentially, where other cities are also putting in money, and so for us to understand if one other community were to make a run or draw from the fund, would we be in jeopardy? Because it's not insured, and so there is a concern of liquidation issues if all of a sudden...
It's a non-secured asset?
Correct. I mean, it's invested. Now, I mean, they invest their money, so if you needed your money cash immediately, no, you don't have that available.
Oh,
So it's beyond treasuries.
okay.
So there was just some information we need beyond, what we got. We want to know roughly how much money is in there, find out the experiences of other communities, because it's only, I want to say April and May of 2023 is when it started. So,
it's fresh.
yeah, so the most experienced entity or community would only have a little over a year of experience with it. I do think there's opportunities because with the way it works is it's more of a, similar to like your money, a money market account. Rather than it being an investment account, it's more of a money market account. So if we were to say get our street sweeping fund from the county all at once, and then we're paying Street Sweepers of America every month, we could put the bulk of it in that account and just draw off of it every month, and we would be making greater returns than if we have it sitting in our checking account at U.S. Bank. So it has some flexibility that way to where the returns are daily versus the LAIF system, LAIF, is quarterly. So the returns on it only come at quarterly intervals. That's how your interest is calculated with LAIF. Whereas with CLASS, it's done on a daily basis. So the returns are much greater when you're compounding that interest. But again, it's a very new, we need more information and more experience, I think. But it's an option, and there are a lot of communities involved and a lot of service districts involved. So,
Yeah, we have some paperwork here, if you guys want to review it. It sounds like a great opportunity for us, but like Director Servo said, we do need to do our homework on there and see also, do some background on the company and see if there's anything nefarious or, that's been filed or reported or anything of that nature. So we do have to do a little bit of digging and homework on it on our own account just to make sure that we're going to be, joining up with something that is actually a very good opportunity for us.
I want to add one specific number was the rate of their fee is 0.01%, or I mean, 0.1 points, so which ends up being 0.01%, I believe is how she said. I
So it's
apologize.
0.1%? So that would be
Point- I-
0.0011.
Yes, so you're taking it to the third digit over, so yes. So they will say there's no fees, but they take their cut and then they create a share
And who's-
value.
Who is they?
The money, there is a Colorado investment group
Based.
that manages class, but then there's a Florida equivalent, there's New York equivalent, there's other states have these same cooperatives that
Okay.
use the same fund managers who are out of Colorado.
Okay.
And this class is really being managed, by a group out of Colorado in the sense that they're the money managers. The CJPIA is in support of it, of class, as an option. So they partially sponsor it and endorse it. So there's a lot to learn. I think that having the materials and sharing them today is probably the best we can do, and we could discuss it further.
It's been a long time, I think, since this board has actually reviewed what our investment committee has recommended or not recommended. Previously, for the longest time, we were handcuffed of having ratios of secured investments to unsecured investment because of our bond debts.
Yep.
We are now a debt-free, which, by the way, congratulations to Rossmoor. We are a debt-free organization as a public entity. It would be interesting to get on the agenda, whether it's November or December or sometime, and actually review where are we on our investments, how well are they performing, and what direction should we be looking at, because the handcuffs have been off for a couple of years now. And to be honest, I don't even remember at a board level discussing our investment policies, our investment strategies, because things have dramatically changed over the last 3 or 4 years, and I have no idea where we stand. So, not to create more work for the committee who just met, but I think that this needs to be on the agenda, Mr. Mendoza. And also, obviously people contacted you trying to sell an investment plan. Meet with the investment committee one more time, get whatever the plans are, and come back to the board, and let's present a state of the district when it comes to investment, both historically and where the committee thinks we should go. This brings us to board member items.
I had a couple.
Oh, you had more.
Family Festival this weekend, please come out. As you recall, the board approved the Harvest Festival and approved alcohol being served out there with the chili cook-off. Chris and the youth center did a deep dive with the county on getting permits for the chili cook-off, and it's just not going to work out. It's just too many restrictions and too many health issues that they put in front of us that it would be unaffordable to put it out here. They want everything cooked on site, and it would just be too intense.
The chili itself
Yes,
has,
they won't let you bring it in.
and who is this? This is the county?
County, yeah,
There has,
the health department.
you need to go over someone's head. Every church, every picnic group in the world, people make chili and they bring it.
Oh, I know.
And they have a contest.
But we're a different entity. We're a government agency, and we need to go get that permit.
Oh,
And,
wow.
sometimes they don't come out and watch the churches or check on them. Yeah.
Oh, that's just amazing.
They get inspected as well.
Because I'm
So
sure
anyway,
there's chili
we're gonna
cook-offs
go-
in parks across America.
And you probably could have it, but it would be very expensive because you would
Okay,
have, yeah.
wow.
So we're going to go to Plan B, and we'll come back with a plan, and we'll still have a great Halloween festival. It'll be fun for the kids.
Okay.
Okay. Harvest Festival, okay, that's it. And then at the direction of President Maynard at the August 13th board meeting, the district arborist, Mary Kingman, will be reaching out to those residents without parkway trees to notify them that a tree will be selected and planted between the months of October and February 2025. The district arborist, Mary, will supply a selection of trees if they want to choose from that. If not, we will select for them.
don't believe I was alone on that.
No, you weren't.
You made it sound like.
I believe it was, well, it
I
was,
believe it was, the majority of the board
Yeah.
was all in consensus, so let the
Yeah, we
notes
were.
reflect that.
okay. I believe, yeah, I stated it wrong.
Oh, okay.
So we talked last time about that? I remember
Yeah.
talking about it. So we're reaching out to, which is good. We should reach out to them.
Revisit.
I mean, certainly reach out. There's a number of them that have concrete all throughout their median.
I
And then,
remember asking,
but-
literally low-hanging fruit, where are the opportunities that do
Yep.
not require
yeah.
remediation, construction, removal of stuff?
And again, Mary, I think last time said that, you know, in years past, she barely got to all the trees that were planted. Maybe that was, you know, years and years ago, but now we don't plant all of the trees that we're scheduled to plant or have the means to plant. So it's time to put these folks, I mean, as long as I've been on the board, there's been you know, at least 30 to 40 residents that don't have any trees, so. Okay.
Two other items, we did give the residents notice that live along the wall and the boulevard, Seal Beach and Los Al, and notify them that they're responsible for trimming the wall on the street side. I have seen a number of residents and their gardeners doing that.
Good.
October 1st, we're going to notify the ones that didn't. We are going to give them a date that we're going to go out and do it and charge them. There's not that many. People are starting to
Good.
to honor the system.
Awesome. They
And the
just
last
needed to
one,
be notified.
on a good note, we were visited by the state on the Prop 68 grant last week. We gave them a tour of this facility, showed them what we did with the funds that they provided for the parking lot and the HVAC system and now the carpet and flooring. And we're looking at our last installment for this park. We're waiting for it. They did approve it. It's at $39,824. So we'll be receiving that in the next couple of days, I hope. Okay.
Great.
That concludes my report.
Board member items, Director Shea.
I have a question for Joe, just regarding the compost. We are getting that delivered from the county, correct?
No, we get that free from our West Coast arborists who.
Okay.
And they
Okay.
it's
We're getting that
basically-
free?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And that's what I was hoping we were getting it, because I know that we can get it free from the
Yeah,
county.
Then residents come and pick it
Okay,
up.
perfect, thank you. That was
That's it.
it.
Okay. Director Soros.
Yeah, thank you. I was curious, Tarquin, did you find out anything regarding the public notice in the Event News Enterprise Sun distribution issue that we raised last month?
Can you remind me of the issue, Director?
So we're using the Sun Event News Enterprise for our public notice requirements of our meetings, our mandatory budget notices, things of that nature. But we're also now aware that those aren't actually distributed in Rossmoor. They used to be dropped at houses, and now we know pretty conclusively that they're dropped here at the office and about 5 other places, and that's it.
So on the issue of public, and thank you for reminding me, on the issue of public noticing, in order to provide for official noticing under the government code, there is a process under the government code by which a newspaper has to be adjudicated as being lawfully able to give public notice. If that newspaper is so adjudicated, then it could give public notices. As long as that newspaper is so adjudicated, there is no requirement to look beyond the adjudication, whether or not it meets the criteria. If there is a challenge to that adjudication can be overturned by the Superior Court. However, any notices given any notices given while that newspaper is so adjudicated will be deemed valid notice. It would only be notices going forward that would not be deemed judicially valid notice.
Okay. Is there any, say, spirit of the law issues when we might, does distribution matter for this purpose?
No. As long as the newspaper, from a legal standpoint, as long as the newspaper is adjudicated, that is conclusive proof that it is legally entitled to give, that newspaper is legally entitled to give notice. I don't know if the press telegram has been so adjudicated, but if the paper is so adjudicated, then it is legally valid notice.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Anyone discuss that, or everyone's good with that?
Who adjudicates the publication? Is it self?
No, it's the Superior Court. So if a newspaper wishes to be adjudicated, in order to give public notice for the various requirements of the government code and other state codes, it has to file a petition with the Superior Court within that Superior Court that has jurisdiction. I mean, it would be the Orange County Superior Court. Once the court rules on that adjudication, then it is adjudicated to give public notice. It is
For how
able to
long?
do so indefinitely until there's a change in the nature of the paper. For example, the paper changed ownership or changed, or let me correct that. If the paper were to change name, it would have to petition the court to reflect that name change, its adjudication. If it is no longer, if it goes out of business, then obviously it couldn't give valid notice. But those are really the only way.
I did get a call from David Young from News Enterprise. Apparently he watches our YouTube video of our meeting, and he wanted to talk to me about that subject, but basically did not have any, I guess, alternative. It is what it is, and that their publication is limited in their outreach to.
And so is all publication. So if we went to the Orange County, so Tarquin, so are you telling me that the Superior Court has a list of adjudicated newspapers?
No. What I'm saying is that the Superior Court issues a ruling that this particular newspaper is adjudicated, and then that ruling is evidence of the fact that it is a newspaper of general circulation, which is a requirement to give notice for public.
Okay, so what is your recommendation then on, it's not so much solving, but being, legal in noticing all these things that we notice, are publications that we must notice. So how do we protect the district in properly noticing in a newspaper that's been adjudicated by the Superior Court?
Okay.
What's your recommendation?
So we would need to see that adjudication by the Superior Court. That fact of adjudication protects the district. It allows the district.
Okay, so if we picked, I'm confused here. So you don't know of any newspaper that's been adjudicated. There's no list, there's no website to say, is the Orange County Register been adjudicated by, I would assume they are, but if there's no list, how would one know if you've been adjudicated?
One simply would ask the paper, provide us your adjudication.
Oh, okay.
And normally they do. I mean, if they go through the trouble to do it, they're happy to provide it.
So Joe, can we do that?
Sure.
And certainly the answer is, if they're not adjudicated, then we got to pick a paper that's adjudicated.
We have to comply. We
Yeah,
have to be
and
compliant to
it
law.
could be something that's on South Orange County.
Yeah, we just need,
I mean, it's so, right?
Yeah, so I mean,
fortunately, there's no way to
No.
have any distribution within Rossmoor as a
No.
community.
But
Print is dead. It really is. So most people, I mean, that's why we don't even do a paper drive anymore.
yeah, no, I'm.
Times have changed.
Yeah,
That
it's-
doesn't mean the word's not getting out there, because companies and corporations that are trying to bid on whatever program we have, or project we have, are looking online. I mean, they're
Yeah.
not getting a hard copy anymore.
Yeah.
if I can interject. So all the provisions that require adjudication, require publication by a newspaper who has been so adjudicated as a newspaper of general circulation within the jurisdiction. The district is free to give additional notice beyond that one adjudicated paper.
I would hope so.
There are a variety of complex rules, what to do if there's no newspaper of general jurisdiction in the jurisdiction. Then one has to go to the closest jurisdiction with a newspaper general circulation. I won't bore you with the subtle details, but they're all there.
Anything else, Director Schultz?
Not on that. I think that's been beaten pretty well. We'll find
Well,
out.
no, it's not really, we
I
don't have a
think- I
solution.
think Mr. Mendoza will find out, and I presume that the Sun and Event News Enterprise will have a circulation, and that they'll be acceptable, right?
They're the
Just did a little
neighboring,
research
I
on the
did a
site.
little search on Google, which is magic, as we all know, and came up with a post by the county clerk, Orange County, with a list of adjudicated newspapers. and
there
both the
we
Sun
go.
and the
Thank you,
Enterprise are
Carolyn.
listed.
All right, thank you, Carolyn. I think my discussion previously was about if there was an issue, technically speaking, when the paper wasn't circulated. As Tarquin elaborated, that is not a concern, so if that's not a concern, then we go with the list, they're on the list, we can all move on. So, thank you, Tarquin, thank you, Carolyn.
Done.
I would ask, Joe, if we're going to have separate recycling and trash cans, that we not have a single bag. It doesn't make sense that there's not an actual separator in our bins. The Montecito Center all goes
That
into the
bin
same can. So I might put it in what I think is recycling, but it's like the garbage can at Costco, where all the food, all the trash goes in the same, even if it's marked differently. So I just make sure we have
That's
actual
embarrassing.
multi-bin trash cans for those moments.
So observant.
A couple of months ago, we had talked about having Public Works and Vector Control come to the same meeting to discuss the
Yeah.
storm channels.
Yeah.
And I'd still like to see that done. I know we had another resident recently
we did.
complain. I noticed the smell, I guess, yesterday morning on my run of the stale water. So I'd like to see if we can get that done. And the last thing is, as far as discussion, is I think we should open the discussions about a policy that the district not sponsor or co-host events for anyone who's a candidate in the next 90 days on our ballots. That wouldn't apply to someone who attends our meeting as a scheduled meeting, but I think it can be possibly an issue of us endorsing candidates. So I'd like that to be something that we look at going forward. I would say, think about it, let's bring it back for more discussion. I know this is like a shock moment, so don't think that we resolve it tonight. I mean, we can't because it's not new
It's
business.
not agendized.
Right, but I would like for the board to consider it. I'd like for the community to consider it and bring some thoughts as well about that and how we can make it effective. With that, I would like to say thank you to Nia Hartman for her bike valet at the festival. Last month, what I thought was really special was that Nia had, not special, but important was her husband had been in a bike accident and had his helmet, and showing how effective bike helmets are at saving some serious damage from happening to you. So thank you to Nia and to her husband for sharing that experience. I would like to thank Joe and Carolyn and staff. The variance explanations this month were phenomenal. Thank you. It was just so easy. The mulch yard is this Saturday. I hope people take advantage of it. With it being so dry, it is a way to preserve your resources. And lastly, I want to thank Joe and the staff for the cooling centers that were opened last week and got that going. That was very appreciated, and thank you for doing that. That's a wonderful part of our community. With that, that's all.
Okay. Director DeMarco.
Okay, thank you. Joe, I talked to you about this today. Can we bring a rep from street sweeping at an upcoming meeting to go over some of the residents' concerns about the quality of the sweeping, and also to, again, you told me today that they had it, but to confirm that they got the GPS, that they can map where they go on Mondays and Tuesdays when they come out, to bring some samples in so we can see it, to bring some samples of you also told me today that they have video. Can you confirm it? And if they do have it, could they show us on our screen that you can see it? And I just, again, this has been going on where I'm hearing complaints, and we should just have them back so we can agendize it, and residents that have some issues can come and talk to them from the contractor.
I realize this is an agenda item, but we'll make that arrangement and make sure they get in here. We have data too of how many calls and complaints we receive, then we give to them, and so we have that log, and so we'll bring that to the report also.
And then they can certainly tell us what they're seeing also when they go through our streets, and maybe some things that our residents may be doing right or wrong that they recommend to us as well. So it's really a discussion, and we haven't had them here since I think we've had the contract, right? We started the contract. I don't think they've been here,
Yeah.
right? So that's just an ask.
A branch off on that is the enforcement by the sheriff, and I had a conversation with him tonight, and he will be picking it up in the next 2 weeks, because that has a direct effect on their ability to...
Understood. So all of that discussion would be great. Make sure our captains hear that meeting. Okay, that would be fantastic. Thank you, Joe. I think we should, let's see, how do I start this? I have witnessed very recently, and residents, one in particular that lives on a corner, has told me about the years and years this has been happening, and he's witnessed the running of stop signs. So, and I witnessed it just the other night where an e-bike and a car just didn't see the stop sign, just kept on barreling through, where I like whistled at him, yelled at him, hey, it's a stop sign. I would like to revisit through the traffic committee. We can do a pilot intersection, okay? Because I see so many different technologies for blinking stop signs, okay? So it's non-invasive, it's solar. We talked about this through the traffic committee before. They don't cost that much, but people are blowing past their stop signs, okay? I'm witnessing it.
Is there a particular corner?
I think there are several. I mean, I live on Bostonian Foster, Bostonian Montecito. Witness those all the time. But I'm sure there are several throughout, Foster, all of the stop signs, major stop signs on Foster. When there's a dip, they're going to have to slow down for the dip. They see the concrete dip. When there is no dip, and even on Foster and Bostonian, I noticed, that stop sign's awfully high. I don't know if it's obstructed by the tree. So it's taking another look at the stop signs. And again, it's because I witnessed the other day, it's on my mind. I'm at this meeting. So I'm just bringing this to the board that I would like to revisit, just possibly looking into, and I don't think county traffic was opposed to it. Okay, they just told us that it's going to cost, I think at the time it was like $750 a stop sign. So I want to revisit that next time we have a traffic committee meeting. So I'm glad Director Searles brought up the vector, our canals, and there's just a ton of water in our canals, channels, whatever you call it. Okay. A ton. It looks like it's a foot deep. I have a ton of mosquitoes in my backyard. So we need to get both of these entities together, okay? And, they were here 6-7 months ago, and Joe, we need to make that happen. Sure. We need to get them both here, okay? I'd love to have residents come in and, tell them what they see, like the gentleman that was here and by his house where he sees it's backed up or whatever, but there needs to be a solution where, they just blow the water out or something at certain times. It needs to flow properly. So, would love to see that at a meeting. Joe or Carolyn, have you heard how Jody Rabanus is doing? No?
I just got an update.
How's she doing?
She's at home. She's recovering. Still going to be
Yeah.
a little while, but
Yeah.
she's doing okay.
Yeah, she was in a horrific bike accident. So, it's just amazing how, you know, she's still dealing with it. So anyways, prayers go out to Jody still on certainly it's not a speedy recovery, but on your recovery. So, and then, last but not least, our last family festival this weekend, the Emperors are playing, right? They've been fantastic this summer. Just seems to me record-setting attendances, right? I mean, it's been amazing how many people come out and how much fun there is. So just a credit to staff, Joe, Carolyn, everybody that puts that together. Just wonderful events. And so thank you for that. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Tarquin, general counsel items.
No items this evening, President
Okay.
Maynard.
I would like to close this meeting with our deepest condolences to you, Joe Shade, for the loss of your father, Ernie Gallegos. Our hearts and prayers are for you and your family. And so sorry for your loss. And with that, meeting adjourned.